So this is why you check your generator before you connect it to your house. But it's interesting what I just found on this generator. In my last video on this Champion 15,000 watt tri-fuel generator, you guys had a lot of questions. Now in that video, I said that we had this pad, little concrete pad right here poured so that we could put our generator on it. But I said we can't have this with the exhaust so close to our HVAC. Well, this is a sealed HVAC system. No air from this system goes into the house. So I was wrong when I said that, and a lot of you pointed it out. So thank you guys for pointing that out, because we don't always get things right. So this is a great location for us because we don't leave the generator out here full time. We keep it in the garage, keep it out of the weather, and then wheel it over here whenever we need it. Now it's a convenient location, and it's also close to the input to the electrical of the house. So we have 50 amps out of here with a special plug. And if you didn't know it, there's a lot of different plugs for generators. So you got to do your research to make sure what's coming out of your generator can come over here and go into your house. But with this only being about, I don't know, 5 or 6 feet, you can use a shorter cord. And it's always better to use a shorter cord than a longer one because it just heats up less and it's easier to carry the electrical load with a shorter cord. Now in this location, we still have to be mindful of our kitchen window here. So we don't want to open that when the generator is running. And also that's the main door we go in and out of the house a lot with. So if the wind is blowing this way, we want to make sure that we don't bring fumes into the house. So next, let's go over to the shop and talk about another big question that y'all had. Now, one thing I want to be perfectly clear on is that I'm not an electrical engineer and I'm not an electrician. I am simply a homeowner that has the occasional need for a whole home generator. And also I need to operate a generator on remote locations of our property to run electrical tools and stuff. And I say that because if you have any concerns about how these operate or how you should operate them, you should consult with a professional. Another question that was asked was, is this a bonded or an unbonded generator? Now, the specs call it an unbonded generator. And again, I'm not a professional, but the basics behind bonding is you don't want to hook a bonded generator up to something that's bonded. And a house is bonded because it has a grounding rod that's sunk into the ground 6 to 8 foot. So you want to make sure when you're powering a whole house with a generator that the generator itself is not bonded. So an easy way to do that is go to the back of your generator, and all generators will be about the same as far as the wiring. And take a look at the wiring and you'll see if it's grounded or not. So let's take this cover off and confirm what the Champion specs are, is that this is an unbonded generator. So this is why you check your generator before you connect it to your house. Now, I am not going to get into how bonding works or neutral to bond works. Go over to Backyard Maine. He does a great job with breaking it down. But the Cliff Note version is you do not want to hook a bonded generator up to your house because your house is already bonded, and that'll give you 2 bonds to neutral, and you could backfeed power into your ground. I'm not going to go any deeper than that because I'll confuse myself, but it's interesting what I just found on this generator. So here's your main wires to your generator, and there is a black wire right there. And then there's a white wire, and then there's a red wire. And what you're looking for is that white wire, or that neutral, does it have a jumper to the ground? And the ground is the case of the generator. So you can see this little short piece of wire has an end on it, and then it's over here on top of the white wire. So this is actually a bonded generator and should not be hooked to your house through a transfer switch unless you take off that bond. Now, I looked up the specs before I did that last video, and the specs of the generator said it was unbonded, but I did not check it. So it's a good thing we're checking it here, and I can show you how to unbond it. So this is a 8mm. I'll just take this screw out right here, and I'll undo this bond. And then I'll put that screw back in, holding the neutral wire to the electrical bus of the generator. And then I will also take it off up here, which of course is a separate and different size. Now there's just a little strap here holding this in place. I'll take that strap off. So to repeat, this wire, I'll put it on the outside of this little bracket here, but this wire went from the ground over here to the white neutral, and that made this generator bonded. Now I take that out and it's unbonded, and I can use it on a transfer switch going into a house. So I'm going to take this, and just so I don't lose it, I'm going to put it in here and tie strap it in a manner that it won't interfere with anything. And that way, if I ever need it in the future as a standalone generator, I can just hook this bonding wire back up. Double check that everything is tight, and then put it back together and hook it up and check out this new transfer switch. I'm glad I checked that, because I was under the impression that this was an unbonded generator, but then when I look closer at the face panel there, it says clearly neutral bonded to frame. That's something you definitely have to check, and you can check it with a multimeter and different testers on these electrical outlets, but I'm not comfortable with that. I'm more comfortable with hands-on stuff, and I saw that there was a jumper wire there, so I had to remove it. And shout out to Backyard Maine. I will link his channel down below. I do not know him at all. I have watched his videos before on generators, and I think if you're really interested in deep diving the technical aspects of generators and how they're wired and all about neutrals and bonded neutrals and things like that, he's your man. I'm not. I'm just a homeowner that's trying to connect this safely to a transfer switch. Before we crank this thing up, and I actually had to slave in my ATV battery because my battery here on the generator needs charging, so I will start this up in a second. But we talked about the 50 amp going to the house, and that's a 2,160 square foot house. It needs 50 amps to run the HVAC and the oven and all that. Over here in the mega shed, we're going to be using the 4-prong plug, which is a 120/240 30 amp. So that is the plug for that. And if you were not going to need 240, then you could use 120, and you could use a 3-prong plug. But because we've got this wired to our well, we're going to need the 220. Over here on the main panel, we had our electrician hook up a transfer switch. So we have a 6-circuit transfer switch, but one of them is dual poled for 240 to go down to the well. So if we come over here, we've got these two going to the well on generator AB. We have the pump house, which is a light inside of where the well is. And then we have the roll-up doors, and we have some lights and plugs, and some more plugs here. And what that does is that gives us basic electricity as well as our water well in this building, so that in the event of power loss, we'll have some lights and we can open the door. So we'll show you that the door works now on grid. You see the door going down. I'll stop it. I'll put it back up. And I'll come over here to the transfer switch. And it's on line power now, so that's our house well is on line power. We're going to go off on all of these circuits. And remember, one of these was the roll-up door. So we're going to come over here to the roll-up door, hit the button, and the roll-up door light doesn't come on and it doesn't go down. So that's the first step. You want to power down the circuits that you're going to energize with your generator. So they're off, we're safe there. Now we're going to hook up the plug. A question we had on the install of this transfer switch, which was in a different video, was how could you put this inside, because code calls for it to be outside. Well, this building here is not inhabited, and I wanted to protect that outlet. So I could have put it outside to meet, you know, inhabited dwellings code, and it would have been put right there on the outside of the building. But then it's subjected to weather, and I knew that I wasn't going to use it very much. Talked to my electrician. We put it in there, and the big thing is that you've got to have some common sense and some safety awareness So the generator will run outside and these doors will be closed. And keep in mind, this is only going to be used when we need to energize the well for the event of a power outage, a long-term power outage. So this is a demonstration of the transfer switch, but also a demonstration that this generator will run a well pump. Okay, we'll open this up. We'll see that it's the male 4-pin 30 amp. Got the plug right here. So this is going to go in with a twisting motion. So you'll look for the one that has like a little L leg on it, which will be top left. Line it up. And then once you push it all the way in, you want to give it a little turn. And that'll lock it in. That's not going anywhere. Before we turn the generator on, we will put everything to off. So you'll see the lights go off right now. Lights went off. And we'll go ahead and turn the well pump off as well. So those 6 circuits are off now. And all the breakers are off to the transfer switch. So once we get the generator started, we'll turn these breakers on and turn these switches on, and we'll be on generator power. So your switches are there. Here's our remote control for our door. Door don't work. Let's crank up the generator. We'll put this to run. We gotta wait for that blinking light to go out. Okay. Now this is the 30 amp that our cord is in. But this is your main. So this goes on, then this goes on. Now we should have power over to here, our input, but then it just stops here because none of these breakers are on. So our light should come on when we turn this up to generator. The lights came on. All right, we're gonna put them all on generator. Some of them are outlets, but here's the well pump. That's the most important thing to turn to generator. All of these are on now. Now we're going to turn on the breakers to all of them. And grab the remote to the door. Hit the door. The door goes down. We'll stop it. Door goes back up. Turn these off for now. Okay, now we're going to route water to the pond. Got a frog in there. Make sure there's no snakes. Now we're going to route water to the pond. All right, you see water coming in there through that underground pipe. Now we're going to go over to the well house and look at the pressure gauge. And you heard the generator, or you likely heard the generator in the background kind of kick in. And I think it was that's when the well pump came on, because it's on a pressure switch. But let's see if she's pumping. But that's our main well. And it's coming in here. And it's filling up. I guess Deb was using some water, and we had that off for a while, but that'll eventually catch up. Okay, what we just saw was the pressure in the well, or in this pressure tank, was around 20 because it had drained down. Maybe Deb had the water on in the house while we had the switch off on the well. And then it came all the way back up to 60, and then the well turned off, or the well pump turned off, and I could actually hear the generator go back to regular speed when that happened. So right now there's no load on the generator. When the well pump was running, I had 2 bars of load, and there are 6 bars here total. So what you heard there wasn't a problem with the generator. The generator has a neat feature to it where you can turn off the gas and it'll keep running until the carburetor runs out of gas, but it's not getting any more gas from the fuel tank. And what that's useful for is most people aren't going to use their generator very often. It may be, years in between use of a generator, and that gas sitting inside your carburetor will ruin your fuel lines. It'll ruin your carburetor. Basically, it will evaporate and leave any residue behind, and then it just either won't run or it won't run properly afterwards. But by shutting that fuel off and letting it run out of gas in the carburetor, you now, if it's a year from now, can just clean out the gas that's in the fuel tank, and you don't have to redo your carburetor or anything like that. Get out the old fuel, put in some fresh fuel, and it should fire right up. So that is a real good feature of this generator that I really like. That was a good test. I think it's wise whenever you get some electrical work done to do a dry run. Like in this case, the last thing you want to do when it's 2 a.m., you've lost power, and you want some well water is to come out here and figure it out then. So everything's dialed in. We've tested the house. We've tested the mega shed where the circuit is for our wells. And so I think we are ready for a storm. Just hope we don't get one. But that'll wrap it up. Until next time, y'all take care out there. See you on the next video.